What is up, everybody? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Of course, you're hanging out with
Me man,
uh
OG Givenchy.
and myself, Harold Mumuli. Karibuni tena sana. It's another, should I say, graceful
Yeah.
video, eh? It's
Yeah.
been a minute, eh?
Yeah, it's
It has
yeah,
been a
yeah,
minute.
it has been.
Ah, okay.
How have you been?
I've been well.
Mm-hmm.
The week has been long. Nilikuwa naona ni kama ishi.
Funny thing, mi nimefeel yangu imeenda mbio.
Uongo.
Yeah, it has been
So
short.
September was short for you as
Yeah,
well?
it was. To be honest, but I think that shows that I have been acha niseme busy kidogo, like projects hapa na kule. So ukisikia mtu kama wewe anasema wiki imekuwa refu, clearly you've not been doing anything. But anyway,
That's your opinion.
yeah.
That's your opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Me, I've been looking at zile vitu nimekuwa nikifanya. I'm like, wow, hii mwezi ishe bana initokee. Naishi. But I'm glad September is over. October.
Yeah.
Does that age our video now that we are talking about which months we are shooting at or something of that sort?
I don't know, because we started when August, yeah?
August.
Yeah, so 3 months
Down the line.
and we are still going strong.
Still going strong.
Consistency tulisema hiyo lazima bana, hiyo
Mambo ni
come rain
matatu.
come shine. Yeah, hapo hakuna choice. Hata kama hauko, I'd rather nikuje tu hapa solo nipige show. Na tusonge.
Very good. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want us to start on, of course, today's topic. But I remember last week I promised you something.
Oh, yeah.
Na ukanichapa hadi manyaunyo. And I would never forget. Nikasema leo lazima.
It was never that serious.
You made it serious.
It's never that serious.
You made it serious when you
Chukulia
included.
kitu personal. Si ilikuwa tu mchezo.
Okay, so I have 3 questions for you. That's why I was getting my phone.
So what's the reward?
What do you want the reward to be?
I don't know. For each question I get 1,000 shillings.
Because
Because I'm assuming the questions are very difficult. Because
not very difficult.
you actually said that ulini threaten that hizi swali unakuja nazo, if I get them sijui nini. So yeah, just put your money where your mouth is. Just 1,000 for each question. If nikifail nakupatia 1,000. Nikiget unanipatia 1,000. It's a fair game.
You drive
I'm sure guys there agree.
Watch up some 333.333 for every question you
Okay.
get
So
correct.
if I get all the questions, then I get
Unapata
1,000.
yako.
Okay.
Sawa.
Fair.
Okay. So, for question number 1, I told
Funny
you
thing, nilikuwa dhani nitakuwa nimetense, but sijatense. Matuliza.
I'll 30 seconds for each question.
Okay, sawa.
I am considered the father of modern philosophy. What is my name?
Modern philosophy. I think I have like 3 people in mind. Can I naweza peana like choices tatu?
One shot. Ukihata. Manze 330 ni pesa mingi sana my friend.
But I'm confused about whether this guy is... Because me, when it comes to philosophy, all I think about is akina Aristotle, Plato, Socrates. So when you say modern, those guys were like, thousands of years ago. So when you say modern, I'm wondering, as in it's within the 21st century, I'm at the 20th century.
Oh, hapo nakupa mji. Nikupe mji.
Yeah.
20th century. But saa tumeshuka from 333. Sasa tuko 222.222.
Jesus. Modern philosophy.
I'm loving this. Kumbe hivi ndo unasikiaga ukiniuliza maswali. Guys, if you have the answer, just also share in the comments. This is how we'll be interacting.
Modern philosophy.
Yeah, modern philosophy.
Imeanza na? Jina imeanza na? Shukisha
Itakuwa
bei.
mia sasa.
Tupike 100 basi, sawa.
R.
So
tuko at 11.
by the way, I don't know why, but my mind is blank. I can't even think of anyone right now by the way.
It was P for Puresha.
By the way, sijui kwa nini. Usually these things, I'm very good with these
Yeah,
things. But
and
I
I
don't know
agree,
why right
usually
now. I'm
very-
just so blank.
By the reference yenyewe nakuaga nimekupea.
Sawa basi, that one, give me the answer then.
The answer is Rene Descartes. I am loving this. Hey, Githinji.
By the way, my mind was...
Uh-huh.
Anyway, sawa. Okay.
Alright, let's move on to the next
Sawa,
question.
sawa. Time to redeem myself. Okay.
The world that appears to our senses is defective, but that there is more perfect from the world. Who am I?
What the?
Utakuwa na mashida maishani.
Every day swali. Boss,
The
kwani
world.
usinge...
Okay.
Sawa.
Here is let me say this is what it is.
Uh-huh.
It's an excerpt. More or less, it's not in verbatim, but an interpretation of what he said. In summary, what he was saying is that the world we perceive is imperfect because we don't have the facilities to perceive the entire world to its perfection, right?
You're asking who said those words? I'd say Plato. With reference to the allegory of the cave. I'm right.
Hapo 300 imeingia. Chata kutingizia M-Pesa after the video. Alafu the final question.
Sai ni shagi in momentum song.
A final question for 666. Guess. Name any Eastern philosopher you can recall.
Eastern. Eastern. I don't know whether this is a philosopher, because most of the philosophers I know are from Europe.
Kina Pluto alikumaliza.
Kina Plato,
Pande ingine.
Seneca. I don't know whether this was a philosopher, but I'll just say Sun Tzu.
Yeah, Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu was a philosopher.
Because most of the philosophers, by the way, mostly
Western, and
yeah.
they have influenced a lot of the but it would be actually ningekwambia next time nakuuliza name any African philosopher ndio nikucharaze hapa
African niko sawa.
Uko sawa?
Niko sawa.
Are you sure?
Niko sawa.
Taja moja.
Of course, that is, the next episode. So let us get to the topic of the day.
Okay.
So today we're talking about self-awareness and mindfulness. So would you care to tell us what that means?
Okay, I always try to put it the way I interpret it. As in, to me, self-awareness is... let me call it in general the higher knowledge about the self. Higher knowledge meaning that I not only know how I operate physically, but emotionally and all the other, let me say all the other areas that are characteristic of the self. That I know how my self-awareness, I know how my mind works, I know my limits. As far as this definition is concerned, that's how I would say self-awareness is. Then mindfulness now is outside of the self. That now you're not aware about what is happening to the self, but to your environment. So it's some level of I don't want to say intelligence, but as in you to an extra level, you understand your environment. And when I say environment, I don't mean just a physical environment, because environment is a lot more than just a physical. So I could say your emotions towards me is also environment, right? So mindfulness to me is me being aware of your emotions towards me. That's partly.
Okay, makes sense. Because me personally, when I think of the word self-awareness, I'm thinking of the awareness, and I'm sorry to use the term awareness to define self-awareness. But
Nakumbuka back in high school ulikuwa ukifanya hivyo unaambiwa half a mark kwanza kwa sababu how can you use to define
Yeah, you know.
but
It's their awareness when it comes to who you are, what you are, what kind of beliefs you hold, and why you hold those beliefs, and you know such things, how you've come to hold such beliefs. So yeah, it's that mindfulness, like you're saying, it's also just it's now outside of the self. It's being aware of how, for example, your actions are rather are influencing or are being influenced by
the
environment around you. That is the people around you, places where you are. May not be just the person that you're dealing with, but also a place that you're in. So yeah, the environment will dictate a lot how you may choose to act, or what choice of action you may choose to name. So I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just trying to explain it in my own words, the way I'm just understanding what it means. But I'm sure as we move on and we delve into maybe practical examples of how self-awareness and mindfulness can be exhibited in our own lives, then it can be a bit more clear, I think, even to the audience.
Okay. I think let me just try and figure out an example on the same, because your definition makes a lot of sense, and from the way you're putting in words, it speaks to specifically kwanza mindfulness. Let me just talk a bit about mindfulness. I think even outside of a video, we're talking about an example that would better represent characteristic of mindfulness, and we were saying, for example, if I know that something has happened to someone close to me. Let me say, let me use the example of my sister for the purposes of this video. I know that my sister probably is going through a rough breakup.
Yeah.
It's been very rough for her, and now she's trying to just get back up.
Yeah.
Because of that fact, there are some conversations that we would have casually with her that I might not be so comfortable engaging in, just because of that fact that najua because anapitia hii hapa siwezi enda tu nianze kumwambia ogopa wanaume. Unaelewa, as in that would be an example of mindfulness. But I feel like nimeenda sana na hiyo example.
No, but it makes sense. Cause like if you're saying if she has just gotten out of a very, very violent relationship.
Why violent?
Okay. Very, very
no, all my sisters are okay. No sisters were harmed in the making of this video.
Let's say a very toxic relationship. Okay.
Sawa.
Sawa, yeah. And then she's of course nursing that wound from that relationship,
trying to recover.
Trying
to get herself together. Let's say.
So if you guys meet and you're engaging in a conversation, you will more or less, try to avoid anything that might trigger or that you might say, and then it will like itamrudisha back, and then itakanika like you're poking that wound. So it's like you're opening that wound that she's trying to heal, and that is not what she needs at the moment. She just needs someone that will just be understanding in as far as what she's going through at the moment is concerned. I don't know if that makes sense. So that is that aspect of mindfulness. But you also, I think it also touches a bit on emotional intelligence, in that your awareness of whatever she's going through is making you be very
let me say you're walking around a lot of the conversations that you just walk through. Very true. And it's very interesting that you've mentioned emotional intelligence, because I also I know we'll get to what are some of the traits that you might be looking out for, when we're talking about mindfulness and self-awareness, but I know that emotional intelligence is one of them. Then I don't know if you can, if I don't know if you have an example or a scenario of now self-awareness, as in probably an example that would represent self-awareness. For me, what is coming to mind is I think when I sit down, I will say, for example, when I wake up early in the morning, I will say that because I know I like to watch a lot of TikTok videos in the morning, and I need to be at work. I will wake up slightly earlier so that I can watch some of the videos and still make it to work on time. That is some level of self-awareness.
Okay.
That juu najua I know hapo kuna some traits of addiction, but essentially it represents slightly self-awareness. I don't know kama
it makes sense, but what I find funny is that because you know that once you take, when you wake up and then you take your phone, uingie TikTok and start going through those videos like 2 hours zimeisha and you're supposed to go to work, so you'll essentially unachelewa. So it's, yes, that is self-awareness, you knowing that if I start doing this now, first thing I wake up in the morning, then it will mess up my entire sequence of events.
Mess up your rhythm.
So you're like, okay, let me not do it right now, let me do it a bit later. Let me prepare, let me go to work, maybe I'll go through the videos when I go to work during my lunchtime. But kenina nibamba ni eti umesema unaamka so utaamka mapema. You'll wake up earlier to go through your TikTok videos so that as in you're waking up early to accommodate
algorithm lazima ifidiwe, my friend.
Which is okay, baby. It makes sense. I think for me an example would be you see, like for example, when we are shooting vlogs, podcast, I think you're more of so tumepatana ya asubuhi, topic ni gani, tuchape kitu na tuflow, unaona. So for me,
my friend, vile unanianikanga kwa hizi video.
So me I'm the opposite. So like a few days prior to the day of us shooting the podcast, I'll want to know, so what are the topics that we're going to discuss. So is this so it's this and this, okay. So I need time to probably just do a bit of research, prepare, and then so that when we get to set, I have something, at least I can flow. I have a bit of information that I can reference.
I actually see that about you.
Yes.
And it's actually to some level it's intimidating. Juntaka niangalia niseme, what? Ujama ameprepare hizi vitu zote. Na mimi hata siko huko. And I'll be like, okay, now I need to be serious.
But for you, funny thing, I really, really admire how you do it. Because, let's say, we've just met, we didn't even have plans of shooting. And maybe I had a topic that I had already prepared, but we were not going to shoot. If I just drop it on you, like, let us shoot right now, you'll be like, okay, so what's the topic? And then you'll be like, okay, sir, let's go. So, as in, you're ever ready, yani you'll just dive into the conversation and flow with it, which is something I really admire. Because for me, I nakuanga tu na kitension, ki-anxiety, especially if I know that I haven't prepared. So when ni wale wasetukio shule, it doesn't matter mwalimu wa math kama alikuwa amewaon kuna cut, akikuja tu awaambia leo bedhe nimefikiria tufanye kikikat, nyinyi mko tu sawa mnafanya. Sasa sisi tulikuwa tuna panic, tunaparata tu. We know what we want to write on the paper, but because of panic
ina evaporate.
So me, that is an example I would give. Like I know that I need
that
to just give myself a bit of confidence going into whatever it is that we are going into. So
for me, okay, let me tell you as well, I also admire that you take the time to do the research, and of course if you're recording on Saturday, now by Wednesday ushasema these are the talking points, my friend, ABC, mpaka sijui kuna bullets zinakaaje, mimi nakoga hapo tu niko za usually by the way It's because I haven't mentioned it, that's why I'm saying it now. It's usually, to me, to some extent, it's intimidating, which I also admire, that at least you have all that information and you have all that background, that by the time we're interacting, we are able to just get different aspects of whatever we have as a discussion.
But the good thing with you, even without preparing, like once, for example, I just drop in a a subtopic for us to discuss. I think it's because you have also exposed yourself to so much information, whether it's through consuming a lot of documentaries, reading books, and whatever. So even if I'm dropping something on you, you already have this vast knowledge that you can draw from.
Yeah.
So it's not as if, and I think that is maybe something that helps you. I don't know whether that is what goes into whatever, but because you're knowledgeable about most of these things that we talk about, then you don't find it hard to just flow with it. So as long as there's this direction, this is the way we are going, you'll just be like, okay, I have several deposits of information, nuggets of wisdom. Let me just withdraw and spit them on the podcast. So yeah.
Okay,
that's
so
pretty cool.
hizo
But anyway.
masifa, yes, I deserve all that, but of course tunafaa tushukishe. Okay, yes, I agree with you. That said, wacha, let us talk about some of the traits that you would say of someone who is self-aware and who has some level of mindfulness. For you, what are some of the traits
For me
you possess?
Personally, I'd say one is confidence. Najua that is it's quite something to say at confidence. But anyway, confident people say that. Me, I know I'm confident. So
I know you're confident.
Yeah.
Too.
So and an example would be, for example, when we are, you've found yourself, for example, in a setting where it's like hata tuseme tu ni reunion, yeah, former classmates. So you guys are meeting there, and then utapata kuna wengine amjuani, some of them joined in when you had already left that school, others, so si wote mnajuana, ama it's just you've gone to a party and then you guys don't know each other, but maybe there is the host that knows all of you,
everyone, okay.
But no one knows kila mtu mwingine. So let's assume the host is not there. Like maybe the host amepigiwa simu and
ameenda kuchukua guests wengine.
Yeah, exactly. Ameenda kuchukua guests wengine. So that time when we are there, all of us there, most of us don't know each other. Our mutual connection to each other is the host.
Is severed by the fact that ametoka.
So once we are there, personally, because me nakwanga tu saa in social settings, I'll be okay even if we don't know each other. I'll just find ways of breaking the ice, and not just breaking the ice with the person that is seated next to me. If I feel that we need to break the ice all around the room, then I'll just maybe even stand up and just make sure that we engage in maybe a conversation on a topic or even a game that makes sure that even the ule mse mwenye amenyamaza ongeangi, like pia yeye ata feel drawn to take part in whatever it is we are doing. So I find it very awkward when you're in that setting and all of you are just there, you're just quiet, no one is talking to each other, and then we're just waiting for the host to come back. The host is not coming back. We feel like amekaa huko for like 2 hours, but ameenda 2 minutes. So like ki awkwardness,
silence.
I am self-aware that I can be able to just step in, fill that void, or that vacuum that is there that has been left by the host, and make sure that everyone has a good time. I'd say I am confident, and I'm sure people who actually know me, people we've interacted with,
guys,
can
let's just fact check this.
Can actually fact, yeah, it's true by then.
But for I'll also say, okay, just fact check him, but it's very true that in most of the events that we have been together in, I would almost call you the MC of that event, because you take that baton, MC, ama that hat, and you just go with it even though hakuna program, hakuna anything, you'll be like si tu unaelewa. And I find that very interesting. For me, I think one of the other things that I would add as a trait for self-awareness is what you mentioned earlier. You mentioned emotional intelligence, which is very important, and I think is required, especially today, for us to even interact. That if I do not possess some level of emotional intelligence, I might just lose something that's very important. I would say, for me, the best example I'd give is just the same way you've said that there's an event, we're all seated there together, and we're all awkward. As in, just to interact with the various parties ama the various individuals. As you've mentioned, kuna mtu mwenye amenyamaza na kuna mtu mwenye outspoken but wote wamenyamaza. Once you have triggered that, you've sparked that conversation. Let me say, once you've broken that ice, as an individual, I'll still need to just thrive within that environment and interact with, one, the person who doesn't speak at all, and number two, the person who's very out there, mwenye tukifika hapo you can even talk for 2 hours ama you can even converse. So with emotional intelligence, you will have to have some level of awareness to be able to interact with them. So it's more about let me not say more or less, but it's more about how well am I able to catch whatever someone is trying to talk about and string it along and pull it even further, so that by the time this event is entirely over, we have all had a good time.
Let me give you an example. Tell me if
okay.
I'm following. Let's say in that party that you're in, that you're at, and then you find a friend. Let's call her Farida. And then
Farida.
Yeah,
that's a
okay. It's a
that's
random.
a very
random.
Okay.
So let's say she's one of the, she's quiet, she's reserved, so maybe tu amekaa kwa kona peke yake na ka drink kake, hata haongei na mtu kwa simu. And then you go talk to her. So as you guys are talking, for example, so hey, hi, how are you, how are you doing, as mnaendelea tu kuongea, and you see she's still reserved, you're not getting a lot from her. Mostly you're the one trying to, because you're
single answers.
Answers, so unamuuliza swali, una expect like a whole paragraph. Actually,
how was your day? Fine. Na hata ulize how was yours? Fine, thank you. Na imeisha.
So and then unajua sekao, as in, if you're not patient with them, you can, unaweza kuwa like hata wewe kaa huko, hata mbona hata najishughulisha, hata niende niongea na watu wengine huko, watu watanichangamkia vizuri vile inafaa.
Hapa nitarudi mateizi kushika clearly bado asjaload.
Unajisumbua hapa, una waste energy yote na mtu tu akotoa hapo tu. And in fact unafeel kama unamfanya favor juu yeye hakuna mtu anamuongelesha.
Nimetia bidii mpaka niko njaa, wacha niende. But yes, so that there's that requirement of some level of intelligence for you to even be able to, let me say, thrive in quotes in that that environment. That nikikaa chini na wewe Githinji, for us to converse, I need to be aware of certain things. I need to be aware of that's some level of emotional intelligence.
Let me ask, for example, we know each other. Tumepatana tao for maybe a drink or two, and then you ask me the same question, how was your day? And then I tell you, I've been stressed, but anyway, I'm pushing on. So how would you respond to such as someone whose emotional intelligence is
mwenye amepiga tizi to build their emotional intelligence? I'd be concerned first of all, because for you, mimi nikikuuliza hivyo alafu ujibu kwanza hiyo si response wewe unaweza peana.
Mm.
I'd see myself giving that response, but for you hapana, wewe unaweza peana response ingine. But I'd be like, are you sure? Because it doesn't, kani hiyo ndio response umenipea, it doesn't sound like vitu ziko sawa. What's happening? Unaelewa?
Yeah.
So as in, for me to even pick that, it's some level of...
So you would actually even be able to pick that and just do like a follow-up to find out why is he saying that.
Is it something you're comfortable talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Ni kitu unaweza ni kitu unadai kuopen up ama nimalize hii story na kutandika meza hapa hii story tufunge.
Waiter. Patia mtu shots mbili inakaa kwa stress.
Waiter ameitisha kitu yenye ataitisha jaza tufunge hii mambo.
Yeah. I think maboy hivyo ndo usort nini zao. But nini utapata kuna wase wengine wenye for example msema ameniuliza how are you, and then nimwambie been stressed, work is, vitu haziendi poa, but anyway I'm good, pushing on. So by the way acha nisikudanganye, mimi I'm the kind that once you tell me that I'll be like okay sawa, fiti msijali life ni kungangana tu. So ati game ya juzi you watch, as in I'll just
pivot to something else na hiyo umesonga.
So like I wouldn't say, I think it's maybe partly because emotional intelligence yangu when it comes to vitu kama hizo haiko sharp ama it's also partly because I'm trying to avoid that conversation because
ikifika huko you might not know how to steer it.
Yeah,
so.
I'll be confused because once you start opening up to me how by the nini I haven't even paid rent for the past 3 months. Kwanza nani sasa hapo mimi
nimeanza kupata threats za kuachwa
ati job hata nikaa inaisha, mimi nitakuwa confused because nitakuwa like sasa nitakusaidiaje. So I'm just trying to avoid going through that.
In summary tandika
mega. Yeah, so in summary hata tu nilisha drinks tukunywa tusahau hii story tuendelee, unaona. So I think hiyo bado ni yako ka emotional intelligence ka like you're able to pick up from whatever this person is telling you, you're able to pick up, okay, maybe they are not fine, so what do I do, how do I approach this? Like you're saying, you will ask him some follow-up questions, and then from those follow-up questions you will even ask, are you okay talking, is this something that you can talk about? You see, like uone mtu like ka emotional intelligence kake kameenda shule kidogo.
But I also still feel that unaona hata hiyo ya vile umesema you evade utajitoa hapo quick fast uitishe, that is also some level of it because you are aware that tukienda huko ndani I might not know how to handle it, so acha tusiende huko.
Yes.
Tusisonge.
So I'm self-aware that when it comes to such things,
yeah.
And by the funny thing, because some of the relationships that I've had in the past, I have done that when you're meeting up with a lady, and then she's had a rough day at work, things like that, and then she's hoping she will be able to unpack that load, and then you guys will just go through it together. So mostly, me when I sense that, by then my senses when it comes to such things zinakwanga tu hivi. Spidey. So when I sense that, ati a rough day, okay. As in I'll just, because I don't want us to get into that 4-hour session where I'm just listening to you whining and complaining. But that was before. Nowadays, I've tried and improved on that. But quite a number of women that I've dated before, nimewafanyia hivyo, and some of them even as tulikuwa tuna break up, they were like, by the way, unisikizangi, you're not a good listener, you hata unipatiangi, nimekuambia mashida hizo zote, hata uniadvise nitafanya nini. So after could go through a few relationships like that, nowadays I've become quite good when it comes to listening. So I won't just
utaenda tu service utabaki highway kiasi
I listen to you. And nowadays, by the funny thing, even giving advice, I'm pretty good at that. I'll listen to your issue and then I'll just tell you, by the way, I think this is what you can consider doing. And
yeah.
So
okay, very interesting. But it I think that also adds on to one of the other traits that okay, for me, I also think self-acceptance is a trait of self-awareness that you know that kuna vitu siwezi handle, that when it comes to those conversations, I know I'm not very good at. I have accepted that. If I need to put a bit more work on it, I will put a bit more work. But in the event I'm not able to deliver, it's still okay, because again, I don't expect myself to be perfect.
I agree by the way, your self-acceptance, cause me initially, like I'm telling you, nilikuwa nimeji-accept. Me conversations ka hizo.
Na unamwambia aiweka unataka hizi mastori ndefu enda una date psychologist ama sijui psychiatrist.
Nani ako around? Jackie ako around. As in, you just go talk to that friend of yours that you guys can just unpack all
kama
these
sote
issues.
tuko sawa.
Tupatane kasi wote tuko sawa. Tushaji nini. But you see, I think ile kitu ilifanya nikuwa like, wacha niachane na self acceptance kwanza. There's this girl I was dating, and then nilikuwa tu namfanyia hivyo, anakuja na issues, so she's just finding a brick wall. There's no reaction, no emotion, no nothing. So simsaiding. So eventually she I don't know if she did it out of spite or just to get
reaction.
She got
to get you to think
yes.
of a different perspective, because I know sometimes that happens.
So she started talking to a friend, and this friend was a guy, and this guy was someone that I knew. So I was like, so every other time ako tu kwa simu, so I'm like, okay, new boy. Every other time there's a call, so they are discussing, oh, by the work was good, but hey, you remember by the that boss I told you about? Imagine today he came to you with another attitude. Nini today was, hey, by the way, yes, sasa iliniforce too.
All of a sudden stories zinaanza quite interesting.
All of a sudden now I had to know everyone in that organization, from her boss, her colleagues. So now I had to be interested, because now I'm feeling like, unajua like hivyo ndo vitu tu zienda pole pole, and then unapata boys ni best friend sawa, but unajua stories ama best friend hata ni best friend leo, and then kesho kidogo vitu zimetan
katiba imegeuka.
So just because I had that foresight, and nimeona vitu zikihappen hivyo before, I was like, zizi katu ni kujua colleagues wako na kusikiza stories zako, come to home. I'll just tell me your story. I'll just because that at that time nilikuwa forced into that.
So kulikuwa na hiyo requirement ya kubuild your muscle.
Which I do not regret it, because now I am glad, because nowadays, even friends, even people I dated after that, experience yao when it comes to that imekuwa a bit better. Nowadays I listen, and siwezi itikia ati kuna mtu fulani sijui enda kumpigia simu hapa every time ati boss wako amekujamisha. As much as si enjoy ukinicall tu.
Tutapiga out.
Nicall tu tukasi o boss pamoja, sisi wote ufeel poa, and then rudi job.
Okay. So are there any other traits that you would say are on self-awareness and mindfulness?
I think self knowledge, and knowledge in the sense that so you know that thing where they say that there are people who do not know what they don't know. There are those that don't know what they know. There are those that know what they know, and some that don't
know that they don't know.
Yes. So
wow.
So self-awareness, it's when it comes to self-knowledge, you have to be able to know. For example, ulikuwa nasema, if we have a topic for this week to your podcast, you can your topic utakuwa like, by the way, there's quite a bit I know about this topic. So you're like, maybe you don't need to prepare as much to do a lot of research. Me on the other hand, I'll look at that topic and I'm like, what? Because there are topics by the way that we propose, and then I'll tell you, that one I'll
That
need
one,
like a few weeks just to prepare
let's not
myself.
even do it now.
Yeah.
Let's put it on
Yeah,
the shelf.
yeah, because I am aware that the knowledge that I have pertaining to that particular topic may not be vast, so I may need quite a bit of time to do the research and to prepare myself for the session. Yeah, I think that's how I
That knowledge. That okay.
and
Okay.
funny thing, there's this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people who have like very little knowledge, they tend to be overconfident. So someone who knows little about a topic, au ndo wale watu utapata kwa street when you're arguing, they are like huku shouting all over the place, oh you know nini, unajua. But people, and I think you know this, people, once you start gaining a bit of knowledge, once you start maybe doing a bit of research, even as regards to a certain topic, you realize
that,
what?
yeah.
There's still a lot that I don't know. So your confidence levels zinashuka kidogo. Someone who doesn't know much, they think they know everything, so their confidence is over the roof. But as you continue to gain more knowledge, you're like, there's still a lot
that I need
to learn.
Yeah.
So even when you're speaking to people or expressing yourself, you're very measured because you're self-aware. Yes,
you don't know about this, but here's what I can say.
Yes. So that is a bit of self-awareness there, because you are aware that yes, this is what I know, but there's still a lot more that I do not know about this topic. So I cannot just pronounce myself and say this is what it is. No. But then as you gain more knowledge, as you become more knowledgeable about a subject or a topic, as you become an expert, then you tend to assume that everyone else knows. So ushaikuwa kwa conversation na mtu, and then they are throwing in words and things and phrases, and you're like, I umse, and I realize me si get anything anasema hapa
na vile ameflow.
But when ana flow
hawezi msimamisha juu hata kwa the guy umse ajui hizi vitu.
What do you mean you don't know that? You know. So it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's very, very interesting because it inafanya ukuwe aware that you may not be that knowledgeable about a subject.
Actually, we are all not knowledgeable about any subject because there's a lot to talk about. And it's true from what you're saying that if you have that at your knowledge too, that you don't have enough information.
Yes.
And the truth is, we could. I don't think we have the facilities to have all the information about everything. We don't have. So, by that fact, as in, at least ukiwa na some level of it, you're slightly a bit self-aware than the last person who had the same.
Yeah.
I think for me, the other trait that...
but before we end the other trait, just hold on to that thought. I hope itapotea. But
okay,
before we end the
I hope itapotea pia mimi.
Hiyo ya
self-knowledge, Dunning-Kruger effect,
you don't know what you don't know. What you don't know. What kitu imekam kwa mind ni ile unapatanga demu yako anakuja anakuuliza swali ati acha tutumie tu Farida. So who's Farida?
Okay.
Oof. So unajua, of course, first of all you're wondering, okay, so Farida imetoka wapi
tena.
So you're very cautious. Do I say I don't know Farida? But then if I say I don't know Farida, how does she know Farida, and why is she asking me about Farida?
Did she see Farida's name on my phone?
Yes.
Ama ilikuwa
aliona matext ama aliona kitu Farida amenitumia
mlango
ama Farida alibisha mlango. So hapo you don't know what you, as in uko tu in a situation where it's like catch-22. So you're like, if I say I know Farida, okay, I don't know what will happen. But if I say I don't know her, actually inaweza kwa even worse, cause what do you mean you don't know her and I can see she's called you like 7 times in the past 1 hour. What do you mean you don't know her? So it's unagetia like how you anyway, that was just a light moment.
Yeah, okay.
Get back to so the indeed
nilikuwa nasema an additional trait. Lakini unaipeleka mbali
Yeah,
karibu
wanaume
nisahau.
hapa nje wanapitianga mambo my friend. Maswali zingine wanaulizangwa. Tunashindangwa.
Zimekuwa maswali ngumu kuliko za mwalimu wa math.
Akia nani bebe?
Okay. The other trait that I thought might also just represent self-awareness is empathy. That, yeah, sijui kama tutumie your example, but being aware that, hey, Githinji is going through something, probably I might present myself to be there for him if he needs, and if he doesn't need, well and good, but I know that he's going through something. So mindfulness, now both mindfulness and being self-aware is also just having some level, not I'm not saying that you need to be an empath, but having some level of empathy towards the people around you, because again, we are social beings, and I think I've said this more than we are social beings.
You like saying that.
We are social beings, and nikijifanya, if I just pretend that it's just me and nothing else matters around me, and when I say around me, I mean family, friends, colleagues, co-workers, and all that. As a person, I will lose some level of satisfaction. I won't be as satisfied as someone who's social, or I'd like to compare myself with me as not being social. It's better to just have that level of, let me call it knowledge now, have that level of knowledge for, hey, Githinji by the this week alikuwa na hizi, so this one we can accommodate. I don't know if that also resonates with you. That,
it does. It does, as in just being able to, let's say, relate to what someone else is, for example, going through.
And it doesn't have to be that I have gone through it before, because a lot of the scenarios that we experience as human beings, again, for us mostly, it's our first time, and you're very fortunate if it's something you've gone through before, because you're able to relate and say, hey, me, I remember when it happened to me and it felt so and so. I remember when it happened to me and I was so glad. And unaelewa, for most of us it's like, hey, this is the first time, and for most of my encounters it has always been, well, I've never gone through that, but I don't know, I would think this is how you'd feel. So probably unless now you're willing to share, you're willing to just expound on your experience, but just being present in that situation really helps.
I think you've actually said everything there. You haven't even left anything for me to add. But you've put it very well, by the way. Like, even if you've never, because I think mostly when people talk about empathy, they talk about it in the sense that I have also gone through that, so I know exactly what you feel. So I understand your situation. But like you're saying, it doesn't have to be, because you'll find situations where you have never gone through what this person is going through right now. So empathy, you can still have empathy. You can still just relate to what they're going through. You can still understand and just maybe offer support from that angle. It doesn't have to be something that you yourself experienced. So makes sense.
Okay. So now I think now the final question that will lead to now the close up to these conversations. For you, why would you say it is important for us to be self-aware and be mindful? I don't know, just whatever however you want to answer it. I'm just picking your brain on.
I think, like you said, we are social beings, and we are not. I do not operate within a vacuum. I'm operating with an environment that I have friends, I have family, I have colleagues, I have customers, there are people all around you.
There are roads, as in
Yes.
hata kuna
Yeah.
the people, and then there's again
Exactly.
now the physical yenye tunasema.
Exactly. So if you're not mindful of all these other people around you, then you will just be operating like a, let me just say, a robot, like kikitu tu, without even caring what is going on around you. But if you're mindful of, if I do this, for example, if I say this at this particular point, then my friend here, who is going through something, that will actually offend them. So I will be mindful of that. So mindfulness enables you to be able to, let me say, just measure maybe your actions and your words, so that you do not become a bother, or you do not start offending other people to the point where they will feel that maybe your company is not even welcome anymore. So if you're mindful, you know, yeah, you will be conscious. You will be like, okay, maybe this is what I wanted to do at this particular point, but you know, my friend,
maybe might not be the best time to do it.
Yes, I maybe wanted to go out for that party, that event, you know, that trip to the coast, but my friend over here is going through something and I need to be there for them. So if you're mindful, mindfulness will tell you, okay, this is the action that you need to take. Self-awareness as well, like, you know, you need to be aware of, you know, the knowledge that you have. You just don't go professing everywhere at sijui nini, and you don't know anything. So it makes you you're careful of also how you speak, and I think pia hata ukiangalia like squeezy kwa social media, hata kwa, you know, kwa teli and politics and stuff like that, watu tu, people are just watu tu wanaongea tu, but ukiangalia mse Kenya anasema uko like mse akoshiba kweli amereference vitu zake vizuri, so uko like
ametumia pia reference.
So uko like hapo there's a bit of room for improvement when it comes to them being more self-aware. So it prevents, you know, even the way you present yourself in social places,
social events,
social events, itakusaidia cause utakuwa like, okay, maybe I don't need to go here, maybe dress like this, I don't need to go here, talk like this and do this. So it's
umesema hivyo that in reference to politicians, and I'm like, well, vitu wanafanya huku nje.
By that is a good example. And I think the media the media have been, you know, complaining about this for the longest time ever. Where a politician is invited to a burial to just, you know, console the, you know, the mourners there. But then the minute you go on stage, instead of, you know, offering very kind words,
2023,
yes, you start bringing your own agenda there, and then now that podium has become you know, for you attacking your enemies at kwanza that. So
I agree. I totally agree with you that just by the fact that we are social beings, whether you like it or not, even if you say you are not a social being, for you to even survive in this world, you will have to interact with someone else. And I think part of that interaction, you get better results if the interaction is positive. I would say that there are very minimal scenarios where a negative interaction has yielded a positive outcome or has yielded an outcome I expect. I don't know if it's I'm quite confident for most people that's the case. So just because we want that interaction to be positive, again, for the outcome basis, if you are hata uwe tuseme what, as in uko na hii level, uko narcissistic aje that it's all about you, just because you want that outcome to be positive, you just need to be aware of that environment so that you are able to string and control the outcome that we are talking about. And by stringing and controlling, you are perceiving and you're like, hiya, because it looks like it's going to be a rainy day. I'm using a very basic example here. Because it looks like it's going to be a rainy day, let me get an umbrella so that I'm not wet, sindio? Ufike ofisi kama uko dry, in the example, you want to get to the office and you don't want to get rained on. That for us now, if you're planning on success and you are not even thinking about self-awareness and you're not even thinking about being mindful, it will take a longer time for you to be successful. Just because you didn't even think about, I'm an emotional being, I need to prepare for this circumstances that I have seen. I need to prepare for this because the environment has shown that it will be a lot tougher for you to get to that result. So just to simplify it all, just building that muscle yenye tumesema hiyo. I know you've talked about emotional intelligence, we've talked about empathy, we've talked about self-acceptance, we've talked about what else? I'm sorry, self-knowledge. And I know there are a bit more of those traits that will culminate now to a person being self-aware and being mindful. Just by building all those muscles, you better your chances of being successful, you better your chances of being accepted in whatever excuse me, in whatever you're trying to achieve. So I think for me that's what I would say. And are there any, now it's also a query for you, that we are talking about all these traits that people need to have to better improve themselves. I don't know if you have any scenarios, not even scenarios, any guides that has helped you to build those muscles. Because I remember in your reference you were saying that, hey, back then I wasn't a very good listener, but I had to build it up.
I think one of the ways that
ama ni kuchapwa character, lazima ucharazwe
kidogo. Ukichapwa hiyo character development inakubidi
so unaenda live juu ulianguka mtihani, so uko za acha ni
so it's life experiences. Because you see, like my experience with that former girlfriend.
Oh, it's a former. I thought will maintain.
No,
Where?
Well.
Do you need to talk about it?
No, good.
Tandika meza mahali.
Unaweza tandika meza lakini.
It's okay.
So, from that experience and how that relationship ended, I would say that is the one thing that I got from that relationship. That, I realized, okay, this is something that is important to the person that I am going to maybe end up with. So I need
and
to
you've seen a trend that in all the relationships, this is what was being asked of me.
Exactly. So I had to just be intentional and say, okay, if I need to, if I have, okay, for me to be in a relationship and be able to sustain that relationship, I need to work on this aspect of my life, which is just being empathetic, just being a good listener, so and being mindful at the end of the day. So I think that experience was one of the things that has just taken me to that point. But I think like you also keep saying, you also need to be intentional in the sense that you need to, something like knowledge, you need to just seek knowledge. Knowledge will not come, it's out there, but it won't find you just seated down. You need to get out there.
You need to explore.
Yes, you need to explore and realize that the much that you think you know is like this
is just a drop in the ocean, or it's a sand in the desert.
Exactly.
It's a speck of sand in the desert.
Exactly. So once you realize that, then it helps you even to become more self-aware, because you're like, okay, maybe there are also areas in my life
that I have been operating blind and probably just troubling some people. Unajua, if you look at, again, the thing about being self-aware and mindfulness is, if you do not have it, you will be operating oblivious to a lot of things.
Yes.
Sasa me kama Harold seated in the office and I'm like, why are these guys talking about me in this way? Unaona?
Yeah.
Then now if I just take that time to explore and find out, now it reels in. Now you're talking about knowledge, it reels in the knowledge that okay, they're talking about me in this light because of ABC. Is there anything I need to do about that ABC? And I think that's now the string of knowledge that once you start pulling on it, there's a lot to be pulled, and you only make yourself better by pulling as much as you can, so that when you're operating, at least
That is a very good point. And I think in reference to the Dunning-Kruger effect, there's something that the people who are, who have very little knowledge that they face, it's called the double jeopardy, in the sense that you do not know that you're wrong. So first of all, you are wrong.
One, you're wrong.
So that is the first issue. But then the second one is you're not even aware that you're wrong. So as in, unaendelea tu hivyo na life. So you actually don't even know that you don't know. That is exactly. So if you're aware, if you're curious as to get more knowledge, you'll be like, okay, maybe this is a mistake I've made. Maybe I can correct it. I can seek more information. And then you realize there's a lot more information that I need to seek out. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else you want to add on
I
before
think that sums it up pretty well. Other than maybe guys out there just to share experiences as well of how they are working on their self-awareness and
how are they building their muscles.
Yes.
Because again, I don't think there's anyone who can say I am self-aware. I am very mindful. It is work in progress. Hiyo ni WIP account always that you will always find out that there's some work that needs to be done in this area because in our interactions it's very unpredictable. Unaweza patana na mtu mwenye ako on the opposite spectrum of what you've been building. So now you need to build in the other direction. So guys, just share your experiences. We are very interested to find out what are some of the traits that you would say represent someone who's self-aware, and what are some of the interactions that have triggered you to even just build your self-awareness and mindfulness.
And are you self-aware?
Tulizania hapo, very true. So I think that's it from us, guys. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Kunako ka button karen.
Watu wako hapo wana.
I was looking at the stats and I'm like, guys, kuna watu wamekaa tu nako sawa. Nako sawa. Tumeongea hapa sijui ni how many. Nako sawa. But yeah, consider liking, sharing our video, and even just joining our community by subscribing. But that's been it from us. Join us next time as we are discussing on how to build a successful person. Sindio?
Yeah.
Sawa sawa.
Till next time.
Deuces.